My experience coming into machining, I had a fine art degree. I didn't have any experience in manufacturing. I didn't even take shop class in high school. So I have kind of an understanding of how hard it can be to come into something as an adult and trying to learn something you have no experience with whatsoever. My dad was a machinist. He was a journeyman tool and die maker. So he suggested kind of looking into machining. He mentioned the place he works at was looking for interns, kind of always looking. And so I did a little homework and, your average income and stuff, and thought that this would be kind of a cool thing to pursue. So decided to go back to school as a 30-year-old. I went to the Kirkwood Associates of Applied Science degree, the day classes, and I was kind of surprised because being like a technical trade, I thought it was going to be really boring, and also in manufacturing kind of monotonous. But really, it requires a lot of like on your feet thinking. If it's a really odd part with a lot of different setups, it's really fun trying to figure out how can I make this part in as few setups as possible, and make it so if someone looks at it, they wouldn't know how it was made, to make a really, a finished product. The goal is to take someone who has zero experience in this field and get them to a place where they can go into any employer and get a job, and on day one, be able to perform as you would expect a competent employee would. The program is really kind of broken up into two parts. The first part is a lot of like the core curriculum, all of the knowledge an employer would want a potential employee to have. And that will also be combined with hands-on experience, working with the machines, setting up, making parts, measuring them, verifying that it's a good part. And the two of those combined into a certificate by a national accredited organization called NIMS, the National Institute for Metalworking Skills. It's a national standard that you could take to an employer, and they could look at this and say, okay, you can do all of the things that I would expect an employee would do. Being a recent graduate and going back to school as an adult, I kind of understand it's really hard to go back to school when you're an adult. You have bills, you have a family. If you look at the job market, how many jobs are available for machining, a lot of people who are really skilled machinists, like my dad, for example, he just retired 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of people are getting out of this field. So there's really a deficit in machinists right now. It's a really great field to get into at this point. As some of the older generation retire, there are a lot of seats to fill.